Hey, everybody.
Hey.
I thought I had put there.
There he is.
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
did you try to steal my
How you
look? Do you have on my mask?
No. Yes, she's arrived.
Oh my god. Welcome
That's 501. Yeah.
to City Love Speaks. I am one of your hosts, Dre Field. And we have Tabitha Robinson Scott. The creepy and yet scary Damian Michael L. Williams.
Ooh, so
I was
scary.
like, then our now futuristic Bam Bam.
Excuse me,
Stephen
I am
Russell.
Anne Hathaway in The Witches.
Oh, that's what
See
you
this
mean.
thing
I'm
here,
trying to figure it
right?
out. But we
And
now
I
you
don't have
know.
anything purple, but she's got one like purple on the thing, and I don't have gloves. But
Oh
like,
my
yes,
God.
I am Anne Hathaway in The Witches. She has blonde hair, but like pretend that my hair is blonde. That's who I am.
I'm a
All
dream.
right.
I'm a dream.
I am
I'm a
keeping
dream.
it appropriate. Red lips and all that shit.
Okay, then.
Committed to the bit.
And of course, last but not least, our resident diva, Dwayne A. Townsend,
Hello,
decided
everyone.
to join us mystical. So who are you, Dwayne?
I am Zorro. Okay, catch it.
Catch all of it. Yeah.
All right,
That's
Zorro.
Black Zorro,
How you doing?
aka a country singer. Also, you never know.
Oh my god. Oh, my
Oh.
god. Okay, so
Like,
this
you could be
man,
that one dude, what's his name?
Orville Peck.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
We all knew what that meant, right? We all knew.
Yeah.
This-
I knew exactly
Right.
what you meant.
so appropriately, this is Fright Week because it has been frightful with everything going on. We have so much to unpack, but I want to start unpacking something I would never thought I would say out loud, that Adele was a travesty
Oh, yeah, no, I mean,
in SNL. I thought I would never ever say the words
right.
Adele and travesty together, but travesty,
Yeah, that scene right there.
the travesty, and there's just so much to be angry about.
Literally.
I think the best part was that she couldn't stay in character,
I got
because
picked.
that's what I laughed at.
Right.
That she couldn't keep it together. I laughed that she couldn't keep it together. I laughed at the fact that when the two guys carried the white woman behind her, she
Mama
totally
Cookie.
cruised. Like, she stopped and totally cruised the light skinned dude.
She was like,
Yeah, like, I wasn't mad. He was hot. I was like, okay.
I'm like,
but,
yeah, mom.
but then I had to get mad again because I was like, why are they having white women fled to Africa for the bamboo? No. Like, what happened to me too?
And you
what
gotta
happened to
want the
Black Lives
coconut
Matter?
water.
Right. Right. That was funny though. She was like, "You're gonna want that coconut water."
Yeah,
I was not mad at that. I mean, there was some truth in it, but in the climate that we're in, why is that? Why? I mean, Tabitha, our resident woman.
Look, I
we-
can't make excuses for
I
Adele.
said our resident real woman. I was floored. I literally was floored. I could
of
not
course-
believe they even did it.
I mean, Dre, if I may, I kept saying it was only black men with white women. And I was like,
Well, that was the whole thing. White women to Africa bamboo. It took me
I said,
back.
oh, so y'all chasing that BD. Got you. Okay, got you.
Well, it
Oh,
took me
dang.
back to.
Oh, y'all.
Right.
It took me back to. Remember the 1970s,
Yeah.
where all the
Young
English
lady.
white women fled to Haiti.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
do y'all remember? Like, do you remember? Well, do you remember that? That was like a really big thing. So in 1960s, 1970s, there was a flood of English women that holidayed in Haiti, where they were renting black men as their lovers.
Mhm.
And this is what it took me back to. It took like where I'm like, this is still not acceptable. Because if this would have been a reverse situation, this would have been a whole problem. So why is it all right for the Karens to get some bamboo,
There you go.
but Kevin can't get no Hershey? I'm just asking questions. I got questions.
Kevin can't handle BP?
He
What
can't
happened?
Kevin can't have no Hershey kisses. Not none.
Oh, okay then. No
Because
Mr. Duval?
Because that's the Me Too movement. You know, that's objectifying and soliciting women. That's a no. That's taking away her power. But it's all right for Karen to stroll over to Zimbabwe and request 2 bamboo sticks. I'm just saying. And a vat of coconut water.
Like,
Like, it's
we
okay.
can't
Gotta
blame
have
her for
coconut
it.
water.
Like I'm a little discouraged.
I was a little perplexed. It was making me clutch my good church pearls. I was like, I don't want it. No. Mm-mm.
I don't. I wanna.
I don't. It's not connecting. Oh, no. Mm-mm.
And I'm like, I want to be on your side about it, but
Right.
I can't. I don't know how to do that. At all. Like I was trying, but it was like I don't get this at all. Like I don't get this at all.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was strange that they had Adele host. I get why they had her host.
She's trying to show off that new body.
Well, not just that,
Right.
but
Right. You're like,
They-
see, I'm snatched.
they're
Just give me the
trying.
green for that.
Oh, look at this.
Like,
Look at all that.
Well, well, according to these 3 episodes, this is the 3rd episode since COVID thing, whatever, that they're back in the studio, and they've been trying to be nostalgic about something that happened on this date at some point with the host. So Adele, this date, 12 years ago, this was her first American performance ever, where she sat on that stool and everybody thought the stool was gonna break, singing her song, which blew up. But also Sarah Palin and Tina Fey, as Sarah Palin, hosted the show. So it's like, in the political vein, it made sense having her on the show. And since she said her album wasn't ready, they were like, we'll host the show. I think there were moments like The Bachelor I thought was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the girl can sing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Spot
And
on.
so, and sadly, I don't like every song placement was so perfect because it was like if it was a parody and they put underscored music, this would be the soundtrack. I was like, it's brilliant. Like totally brilliant. But certain sets I didn't get, like the Maya Rudolph with the grandchildren. I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Maya Rudolph, though, as Kristen Kellen, I don't know. How do y'all feel?
Well, I love Maya Rudolph with whatever
Yeah.
she does. But I think with this episode, apparently, allegedly, the writers were trying to stray away from politics because their understanding was it was getting a little too politic laden,
mhm.
and they needed to create a narrative to happen after the election because, we all have to kind of move on with our lives. So
Right.
this was their attempt to do it with Adele because Adele really doesn't want to be involved with the political side. I get that. But like you said, I think the writers are reaching because the material that everybody's talking to about in parody is the reality that we know is our political system right now.
Right.
So I think the joke was on them.
To
Yeah.
say the least.
I mean, it was
To say
kind of
the
like a real reality of their sketch where they were like, we've got this election coming up and we're worried because without Trump, what are we going to talk about?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that was so good. I
Yeah.
thought it was so amazing.
Yeah.
And I even love the fact they didn't leave it there. That they were
Mhm.
like, when Keenan was like, but wait, there could be a trial. Wait, let me calm down. Let me stop exciting myself.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
like it was those moments. It was like it kind of gave you hope of, because sadly we are all Orangina addicts at this point. Because even if we don't want to hear from him, you kind of don't have a choice but to check in just to make sure he didn't even say your name out loud. Like it's
Yeah.
it's really bad
Right.
in that craziness where it's like you can't help but watch him.
Yeah, because you want to make sure that he's not pushing the button,
Right.
Yes. Oh my
And
God.
get it.
Can you imagine?
getting us all killed. Like
Basically, yeah.
that's the check-in that we all have to do to just make sure he hasn't said anything too far that's gonna put
Mhm.
us in a place where we can't return from. I don't know how much returning we're gonna do regardless, but
True. Yeah.
Well, no, I was like, well, I mean, well, part of the larger issue right now, I mean, we're going to get into a little bit later,
Mhm.
with the Supreme Court
Right.
already making a ruling about voting and the dates, the whole nine, whatever, where the 3 nominees that he put in are technically attempting to help him steal the election. And there's no way around that.
Right.
This is why the voting early is so vital. But before
Right.
we go deep into that, because I think I have to change over to some liquor out of this wine from that. But we're going to check in with our mental health check-in as we do every week. Damian Michael Williams, this is you.
Hey, what's going on, our beautiful people? What it do? We're almost to Halloween, so it seems like we're
Mhm.
having a little fun here in spite of everything. Getting a little fancy, light it up and all that stuff. So how are we doing? What's going on with us? Tabitha, you, the lady of the house.
I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. It's been a crazy week, I'm sure, for everyone. I'm being optimistic because my birthday is next week.
Yeah.
So-
Come on, birthday.
And
It's
November and a
Scorpio
half.
season. I'm
Mhm.
trying to just, enjoy my light as a Scorpio. A funny thing happened to me today, though, wearing this lipstick, which I kind of do all the time, not just during Halloween. But
Right.
a woman said to me, "Oh, I love your Halloween makeup," and I was like, "What Halloween makeup?"
Like, say
Yes.
what? Get her together.
She did not know how to respond because I'm wearing my spider earrings. She was just like,
You were wearing
Oh,
earrings
okay.
also, and
she was like, "Happy Halloween." I'm like, "You too, lady. You too."
Oh my God.
You too, boo.
Terrible.
She
That's
would have
awesome.
died if you would have went boo or bibbidi bobbidi boo. Like,
Yeah, I wish I could have captured her face when I said I'm not wearing Halloween makeup. She was like,
That's a Kodak moment. Yeah.
brilliant.
so that warmed my heart today.
Yes. Good shade always warms my heart. I don't know
Oh,
about you, but it
absolutely.
does. Yeah,
Always.
it does. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Indeed. Sir Dwayne,
Ooh.
please, Mr. Townsend, can you share with us, darling? How
I
are
will-
you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Oh, indeed.
No, I'm doing good. Of course, I've been busy as you. I haven't been here in 2 weeks, but I am filming right
3.
now.
Oh,
Has it? Okay. Oh, thank you for
I'm gonna call the
that.
girl out.
correction. 3.
Listen, I didn't want. Okay, 3. It's been 3 weeks.
How
But
you
yes,
doing?
but I'm good. But I've been filming, of course, filming the 3rd season of Pose right now.
Yeah.
So 3rd season of Pose is on its way, everyone. Not spring, but I think summer 2021. All right, cross your
Damn.
fingers.
I am.
Getting through it. But it's great. We're definitely following the guidelines for the CDC and making sure everyone is safe, and we're masking up, even double masking up. And the shield. We're constantly sanitizing, and we're just powering through each episode right now. So I don't know if I should say this, but we're on episode 3 right now, going into 4. So it's coming along. I'm excited.
Are there
Hey.
glitter masks? That's all I care about. Is there a glitter mask ball? That's all I need to know.
There's a lot of glitter. That's all I can say. There's a lot of glitter.
I'm gonna need a category is masks. That's what I'm gonna need.
Mercy. So, Dwayne, I have to say before I go further, you're a trailblazer, brother. I mean, I watch you on social media and all the things that you're doing, that you're into, that you're a part of. It's so just trailblazing. Whatever you do, don't stop. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Now, my brother from another mother, Steven.
Steven.
What to do, bro?
I'm
What
all
you
right.
think?
I'm hanging in there. You know, my latest clothing venture has not worked out the way that I would like.
Oh, that's all right.
In that the sizing is like crazy. It's just insane. Like it's overalls that are the sizing is just absurd. Like I could barely get the middle portion over my head if I wanted to. There's no coming back. I met a woman who lives on the same floor as me down the hall. I'm gonna see if she can fit into them, but like you got to be a size 0 to get into this thing. It's supposed to be size 14.
Wow.
Like it's insane.
Now you know how
Definitely.
women feel all the time.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry.
Also, another good tidbit, maybe if you made, bigger clothing for full-figured people, you might have a little bit more space. More,
You know, I just need to
Of course.
figure out if I can figure out how to A, make a pattern, or B,
Right.
change a pattern. Then
Uh-huh.
I'd be
Well, now,
coasting,
I can teach you how to
coasting
make
on
a
Hot
pattern.
Wheels.
Making a pattern is so very easy. You really be surprised.
Well, I look forward to learning.
That making a
One
pattern,
key word.
because the creepy is making the pattern is easier than actually making the garment.
Yes.
A lot of people
Absolutely.
don't. Well, because the panel is flat.
Right.
Like a panel does not have really any shape to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think is creating the actual like blueprint of it. It's always going to be a little bit oversized. So when it helps you create
Right.
to be able to do alterations to be able to take in.
Mm-hmm.
Draping, which is I think is probably what you did in making your overalls.
Mm.
Draping is as close to the body as possible, and if you were following a pattern, it's always so that 14 is really a 12, and depending on where the specs come from,
Mhm.
then it's probably a 6 or a 4.
Yeah,
Which-
this is like teensy.
Yeah. So, right, that's what
Like,
I'm
I'm gonna
saying.
have to install a zipper.
Before I go any
That's where the
further,
challenges go.
and before I get to the CEO, I want to talk to not only here my family, my co-host family, but also to our viewers. In meditation today, I heard refocus. A lot of times we can get so busy in what we're doing that we forget the destiny and the purpose of why we're doing it. So I want to encourage all of you to recenter yourself. Like, okay, before I started this, what did I hear? What did I see? What did I feel? What is it that I know that my purpose is? So that my feet can be aligned with destiny. Because our destiny has already been spoken. It's up to us to achieve it. So I just want to encourage you to all refocus. Because why? You're worth it. We are all worth every great thing that has come our way and that is coming. Because I promise you, even with all things that are going on, I am here to affirm you. Greater is coming to you, to all of us. So please, whatever you do, hold on and never let go. So, in that, Mr. Dre Fields, what it do, bro?
Is that my cue for us? So we want all our neighbors to turn on their Cash App at this moment and pay your tithes and your offering. Two City Love speaks. Attention, Damian L. Michael.
Thank you.
Dollar sign.
Uh-huh.
Black.
Yeah.
Black.
I've been to that. Yeah.
I felt like it was time to take up offering after that moment. I was just gonna say I'm
Time
not
for
mad.
offering.
But I'm like, I was like,
Put
I
the
paid
money
my
in the
tithes
fan,
Sunday.
praise the Lord.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this
Right.
has been the most bizarre couple of days I think I've ever experienced.
Mm.
Which has been strange because like I've literally not been doing anything until 11 o'clock every day for the last 5 days. which is the odd
AM
thing
or
for
PM?
me. It's weird because it's been like I'll wake up at 5:30 like I normally do, have some water, meditate, and then the next thing I know it's 11 o'clock. Like I have no like countings of like I'm like I'm wake just get into bed. I'm still in the bed. It's the strangest, bizarrest thing. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like I don't know what's happening. But okay. So it's been really bizarre. And then, everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
I don't
can
know.
attest to that.
It must be nice to wake up at 11 a.m.
Shoot.
Well, some of us are at work at 3 a.m.
Oh, that's how you do it. That's how greatness does it. Oh, okay. Excuse us. Get
Just
it.
saying.
Make that
I'd
clear.
be more active
How
on my
you
social
doing?
media if I was up at 3 a.m. I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know.
listen, I promise you, I can attest with Dre because this
There we
past
are.
entire week,
There we
going
are.
into the weekend, it was downright traumatic. I had a horrible high anxiety episode that scared my life.
Oh, no.
Woke up and couldn't breathe, gasping for everything I had. But I was reminded that when you're on the right path, anything and everything can come into your way to try to knock you off balance, knock you off focus. So after I got back, and of course it took me a couple of days because my body was going through like, okay, what had happened? It was a whole episode. It was hours before I could actually and gather myself. But I had to, in that, it allowed me to refocus. It allowed me to, okay, yeah, this is why. Don't think it not strange when things just out the blue just happen to you, just like, and you wonder like, what happened? Why? So I can definitely concur and understand Dre when he's talking about just things out of the norm. So that set me off, but I was reminded, yeah, things are going to happen, but that's just your signification that you're on the right path. Because if nothing is happening to you and you're just cool with it, sometimes it just means you're on the wrong path. You need to refocus. So I definitely understand. We understand, Dre. It can be like that sometimes.
I'm glad it's over. I'm glad that period is done.
Right.
And then it's just been a tumultuous week of crazy from the last presidential debate to the boy getting shot in Philadelphia by the two police officers. And it's just like, come on. Like, it's literally at this place of come on. And then knowing that I strongly believe that, Trump knows that he's going to lose. And I'm probably the only person that's thinking that he's only doing these campaign trails in the oddest of places, in the sense of trying to create a mutiny later. Like, I would not be surprised at all that if Trump loses, that riots start breaking out all over the country. And especially in like these rural states that have his main supporters. I would not at all be surprised that if we went into a state of travesty for a while, would not be surprised at all. Just because of how these, even just when he was in Michigan and talking about, one, calling her Kamala or Kamala, and
so rude and disrespectful,
calling her a monster, and then telling the people that, we're not going to stand for a socialist vice president.
Well, you're not being asked to, so we could all agree. Like, that's the thing that
yeah.
But in painting this whole picture, because at least I'm like, well, I'm just glad enough that he was smart enough not to say, y'all don't want this black woman as vice president. I'm glad he was just smart enough not to do that. You saw it on his face that that's really wanted to come out. The factor of that she's a woman, and then wait, she's black. So definitely not situation. I'm honestly really looking forward to well, for two things. Later tonight, well, today, This Is Us, returns on NBC in their 2-hour premiere. So I'm really excited about that because I have been missing my baby mama in my head. I love Beth. Oh my God, I love Beth. I feel like I'm Sterling K. Brown in the whole situation. I'm like, I am Randall, and that is my baby mama. I don't think y'all understand how much I love her. Love her, like adore her. And then there is a new docuseries released now on HBO by one of my favorite historians, political historians. And they're really breaking down, the state of our culture, the culture of America now, from McCarthy and how Trumpism and McCarthyism isn't far off from each other, how it all kind of intertwines and tames in, but also giving historic reference on giving Black Lives Matter a place to actually breathe, because what they're doing isn't radical. It's literally just a repeat of the civil rights movement, a repeat of the Italian rebellion, which is the whole what is it, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and
Gangs of New York.
Gangs, right? So they break it down on how all of these things in time, space, continuum, and it's like even the cultural factors that have driven America to be America. And so how this repeat of history, when they say everything repeats itself, is when McCarthyism happened. After McCarthyism, there was a true rebirth in America. And I think we are there now. Especially with the COVID and everything that's going on and people in the uprise about it all. It's just been daunting this week. Like it feels like all the chickens have come to roost this week. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
So
it's a very much so a scary situation. Everything's, as you said, is happening back to back, from killings to a new Supremes Court justice, and all these other all these other things, and then Captain Orange Poop, he just keeps coming with it, and I sincerely feel that he's plotting and scheming either way, whether he wins or not, because this is all things that he's building, pursuing to let it stick into the ground. And it's just like, we have to. This is why our voting is just, it's imperative. It's important that we do. Because if we don't, it's nobody else's fault but ours.
That's true.
Literally.
Right. Thankfully, the voting has been up. I don't know if anyone's been seeing the video of the lines, but and then key battleground states early voting between for the 18 to 29 age group, which historically does not turn out, is up like 5-fold from 2016.
Wow.
So, and that's it's not even election day. So
yeah,
they're saying that over 50 million people have already voted.
Right.
Awesome.
Literally. Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
And one of the great things about it is everybody, it feels like the voting factor that not only everybody is on board, but even like, I love that, like the pizza to the polls has all over this country. If there is a line and you're standing in the line, all you do is take a picture and you tweet, and then they deliver. They have local delivery places. I think it's Domino's and local places that are popular pizza places in that area have gotten funding to go and just
Cool.
deliver pizza to people while they're standing in the line, so that
Yes.
way they're not missing meals and the whole nine or whatever. Like, I think all of that is great. They've even worked it out
is
for the
great.
people that don't want to wear the damn mask, to not even turn them away from not voting,
Mhm.
where they've created areas in almost every place for them to be able to vote without having to be masked. I mean, so like, I'm really glad all of like, it feels like democracy is taking a turn,
Mhm.
even though we have the witches in the White House, pretty much.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
not even
All
mad
pun
about the
intended.
lines.
Yeah.
All
I'm
pun
not mad
intended.
about the lines. I'm not even mad about the lines. They move pretty fast because they got to keep things spaced inside, and also like the cities are poor. We need another stimulus. It takes tax dollars to staff
Please.
polling places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I went to drop off my ballot on Saturday, and the Civic Center has this beautiful pavilion up, which I think should be up every time there's an election. And there's a hydration station
Nice.
where they ask you, are you hydrated? Are you prepared? Do you feel like you have enough energy to go through and stand in line and vote? And I had to stand in
Wow.
line just to put my ballot in the drop box, which I will gladly do. But there were people all over, nonpartisan, that were there to support you. There was an ice cream truck there. There was there were food trucks across the
I
street,
love it.
and they had.
Amazing.
And the best part was, and this is the part I absolutely love. I don't know how you signed up for this job, but there were placeholders there. So people that volunteer to stand in your place so that you can go get some food, so that you can use the porta potty or whatever.
Yeah,
And
they do that in Ohio. That's
and
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like an Oscar seat filler. You know,
Yeah.
they stand in your spot, they hold your
Awesome.
spot, and then you can jump right back in line. So, I mean, whatever we have to do to support each other, gladly. I was happy about the hydration station though, because we all need to be hydrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Well, let's talk about these. Well, a whole different set of witches.
Moving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even Moscow's. Take it.
Oh, right. So we are reviewing we are comparing and contrasting this week the 1990 adaptation of the Roald Dahl classic The Witches and the 2020 adaptation. Now, the 1991 has Angelica Houston and a number of British stars that we don't necessarily know, but then we have for this new version, we have Stanley Tucci, we have Octavia Spencer, we have Anne Hathaway, we have
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock is our narrator. Then, and I guess I did misspeak in the original Riches. Carson, if we have any Downton Abbey fans,
Mm-hmm.
Carson
Yes.
is in the kitchen. So he is, in fact,
Right.
and also in any Fleabag fans, the dad in Fleabag is also the kids, the like gross kids' dad.
Right.
So for any Fleabag fans out there, and basically witches both hate and eat children. They have no fingers or toes, so they always wear shoes and gloves. And there's always a head witch of the coven, and they just happen to, this boy and his grandmother in Fleeing Witches happen to go to the hotel where the coven is meeting. And then it turns out they have a new secret to turn all the kids into rats and kill them. Well, the little boy who does get turned into a rat, he turns it on its head, and all the witches become rats. And it all lives happily ever after. Now, 1990 version, straightforward. 1920 version, 1990 version takes place in Europe, both Norway and the UK. And then the 1920s version takes place in Alabama in the civil rights era. And let's talk the talk. So, Dre,
Yes.
this is the first time for both films. Correct? Oh, so yeah. Let's take a
Yeah.
straw poll. Who had seen the 1990 version? Damien, Dwayne, Tabitha. Boom. So Dre and I, looks like you and me had not
Right.
seen.
Had never seen the
Right.
original. Right.
All right. Let's go across. Thoughts. You compare, contrast. I give you tabula rasa. You have free reign.
The 1990 version with Angelica Houston was everything that you want in a kid's fairy tale come to life. It was very if Nickelodeon, it felt like Nickelodeon and Disney decided to fight against each other, and Nickelodeon said, so we're going to do it with real people and not in animation. That's what it kind of felt like to me before Disney started doing the non-animation. And the cast was really good. Angelica Houston, I mean, it was spectacular.
Right.
And growing up in the 70s and 80s, so the transformation of Angelica Houston from being this glamorous, uptight woman as the head witch, the supreme witch, when they lock the doors in the conference room and they all take their wigs off because they've got the bed sores, the whole nine.
Right.
And when she transforms out of that into this horrible, frightening, it reminds you of like the Muppets and
Right.
and all these great like things where it's not scary, but it's jarring. Where you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. Then the new version, I was like, okay, so I don't get it. It felt like they were trying to be really super glamorous, or to be the 60s. It was to be the 60s and an old black woman and a small black child being able to stay in a very ritzy hotel for free because her brother's cousin, son, or whatever, was a chef once upon a time, not a chef even in
like
the
currently,
moment.
like the chef. Yeah.
So it was like this black lady is moving like you moving in big circles, unafraid of white people, which would have been very unheard of in that time. Right. So that was
Alabama in the 60s.
Right. And Alabama.
Right.
Like weird.
Of all places.
So I thought that was strange. I think I was more upset that they did not turn Charlie back into the real boy like they do in the original. That he literally turns into that he's Chris Rock. Yeah. He's an old rat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh my God.
That was the most bizarre. That because one, rats don't live that long. Two, how the grandma's still living. Because she should have been dead and gone by now. Like it was like all of these little bitty things. Then this a black woman in the 60s. They get all this money. And she buys a Winnebago. Not like a big old mansion back house or whatever. She buys a Winnebago. And puts pictures on the side of it. I don't get it. I was so very glad that I was like, I watched the 1990s first. Then I watched the newest one because I was just very, very sad. And then I was angry that Anne Hathaway, that I love, keeps doing this horrible German-esque accent badly in everything.
Yeah, we're not a fan. We like Anne Hathaway. She is second only to Gwyneth Paltrow in the amount that people hate her, and it's unfair. They are not in the same category.
But I love
They're
Yeah.
not.
Gwyneth is my boo.
Right.
If I had to choose, I'm always gonna choose Gwyneth.
Yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow is
Y'all are few and far between.
that's
but
my boo. I love her.
Tabitha. Okay. What were your thoughts on the 90s version?
Well, I always sided on the side of the villain growing up, watching all of the Disney movies and all of the cartoons. So I worked very hard. I'm not gonna lie, I probably have spent more time than I should admit perfecting my Angelica Houston scowl.
Yes.
Indeed.
It works very well as a teacher. But I absolutely loved it. I thought that it didn't take itself too seriously, but seriously enough
Mm-hmm.
to convey the story. I did not see the new one because I have Roku and they don't like HBO Max. But I have heard that there isn't as much connectivity in the storyline with the new one. And, you know, it's unfortunate because I think it definitely had an opportunity to be really valuable and be, you know, like the next Hocus Pocus or Practical Magic for this generation, but it fell short. It's unfortunate that there's a disconnect, but I absolutely love the 1990s version and we'll watch it every time it comes on. And every time she scowls, I make sure.
Right.
Love that.
Damien.
Being that I am a movie head, coming up when that movie came out and have watched it several times. And then, being so geeked and excited about the, 2020 version. I'm like, okay, all right, that's cool. Give a little homage. I watched it and immediately, because of course, in the original, not only was Warner Brothers help producers, but also Jim Henson.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
I liked it so much.
knowing all of these details, which brought me to the ultimate thought that a lot of these babies nowadays have lost their sense of imagination.
Yes.
Mm.
You hit it
It's
right
just
on
like
the nose.
they don't know how to go the distance, going out of mind, out of pocket.
Right.
I mean, the 1990s version gave you so much. It still gives so much to this day.
Yes.
Suspense, it gives you thriller, it gives you all of that. It gives you the little kitty part. It gives you, the love and the homage between the grandmama and the son, the grandson. It's all of that. It has more, to the story and to the plot and the theme. And it's just, when I saw this, I was like, And I even had the nerve to make a post about this. Wow.
That post.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, it lacked a whole lot. There was no connection. There was none.
Right.
It was as if they said, okay, we're going to create this movie, get some, heavy hitters, top liners. Of course, I love Octavia. That's my girl.
Mm-hmm.
Mama rocks it. She just does anything she does. Even though some people say, well, she was giving us something familiar, but I'm like, anytime she brings it to the table, period. Versus, and I love her all day, but it's like,
It was lackluster.
You didn't study your craft on this one, baby. You didn't study well. So it lacked a lot for me. Yeah. So that's my opinion on that.
Dwayne.
I saw the original version and I loved it. When I was a kid, it frightened me. It did give me Nickelodeon, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark kind of situation, and I loved it. I loved that. So anything that, like, I noticed that a lot of studios right now are recreating all these past, like, movies and shows and stuff like that, and I think it's just because they're trying to cater to a new generation of kids, or just, like, just make things a little bit brighter. But there's nothing better than the original versions of everything. You just can't. There's, like, certain movies that you just can't do over. And I don't know. I was on the fence with this one. Like, her accent was, like, for me, it was terrible. no one can live up to Angelica Houston. Like, I mean, the part where she takes the bottom of the dress and it's a cape and she drops it down. Like, you can't recreate stuff like that. Like it was just perfect for me, and I was not. It's a no for me with that, with the new version.
Yeah, I mean, to me, a couple of things were great about the old version. First off, you have an ambiguity in the timing, right? Like, if you were to find out that was taking place in the 40s, closer to when it was written, you would believe it. If you found out it was coming out doing it in the 70s, you would believe it. There was it was vague. There was also a better development of the characters, because you got a sense that there was something going on between the grandmother and the head witch, but you got a sense that they fought in the past. Like, the grandmother's finger was taken.
Right.
In the new one, Anne Hathaway saw her as a kid through the train fog, and that was it. And the other thing is, I am okay with imagining a movie under new circumstances, although anyone who's ever seen a Shakespeare play can tell you it's probably not going to work out as well as you want it to. But if you are going to say that, okay, we're going to set it during the civil rights era, well, you better do that. We had talked about this. It doesn't make any sense that this black grandmother and young black child go to the most expensive hotel on the Alabama coast, and they get no weird looks from this. There's one interaction where she arrives and this valet takes her stuff. She goes to tip him, and he's like, no, you keep your money. Other than that, there's no reference with any of the staff, nothing with any of the guests about it being weird. There absolutely nothing, even though this is, one of the most explosive times, to the point where if you're gonna set it in the 60s, why would it doesn't make sense why you would do it. And then
why? I still have the question of why.
Oh, I have no idea why they would do it.
Any time of year that you could have just done this, why that time of year, and not hit all of historic references? But then it also goes back to what we were talking about last week, where there is this thing when you're black that are unspoken things that if you don't have a black director, completely get missed. So you got a black maid with a black woman, a black man is coming into the room of this black woman. Ain't nobody got no questions. Everybody being extra nice to her. There was no, because even amongst black people with money and black poor people don't like each other in the 60s. There was this better than black that was going on in the 60s. And you got a black woman walking out, passing out $100 bills. Ain't nobody question nothing. A black woman and a black child, the sheriff ain't showed up, not never. It just did not make any sense.
And then
100.
Right.
100.
Right. And then the witches, on the other hand, there was a couple of things. So those were things that they tried to do and then abandoned. Then there were things that didn't make sense that they did. Like, they made the witches cheap, which was weird. It was everything. Anne Hathaway was always complaining about money, and then they picked the soup based on which one was the cheapest. However, it's a point in the first one that the hoity-toity guy wants the soup that's especially for the witches, because the assumption is if the witches are eating it, then it must be really nice. Exactly. So it made no sense that they would change it in that way. And then the other thing is they very clearly tried to adapt it to a modern sensibility in a couple of ways. One, they made the overweight kid nicer because the idea that like the brash, fat kid bullying his way toward the food, I don't think that would fly now. But then he just became like a stupid guy who would just go toward food like a brain dead idiot.
Which
And
they do.
And
That
Stephen, if you recall, in the original, some of those witches were men.
Mhm.
Yes, they were. Yeah, yeah.
They had in this one. I feel like I didn't notice in the original, in the second one, if they had many other than just like white and black women, but they had not only were some of the witches men, there was a number of Indian witches, there were black witches, there were, I was kind of taken aback by the representation that was in the ball or the convention hall. I was like,
yeah.
all right, England, surprisingly good here. But then the other one where I was like, oh, is this addressing the stand-up comedy act where like I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, every black stand-up comedian has a moment, has a bit about like the moment in the horror movie where they would be like, nope, I'm getting out of here. And they have that moment where they say it directly, where Octavia's like, what am I doing? I'm sitting here talking to you about witches and we're just standing around, pack a bag, we're getting out of here. And I'm like, I feel like they put that in to like address that. I mean,
well, it was necessary because one, I don't know a black woman, dead or alive, that would have sat there watching them witches blow up and turn into rats.
Nope.
Right.
Never.
Nope.
Not one dead or alive do I know that would have stayed there to see not one of them witches turn. It would have been, as soon as they be like, oh, it's in that soup. Well, y'all come on. What God's gonna do his thing. They wasn't even gonna sit there to see what was gonna happen. Like you
The
said,
first
like,
mind would have been to protect their grandchildren, their
Yeah.
grandbabies. So
Yeah.
I thought that was weird. And then I thought it was weird that they made his pet mouse
oh yeah,
an actual real girl.
yeah.
But then didn't change. I was like, the brilliance of the movie was that which they left out, which
Yeah.
I thought would have been amazing. So the black woman that saw them in the store when he first saw in the store, whatever, she was the assistant. So in the original, she fires the assistant. The assistant is mad and turns into a good witch. So I was waiting for the black woman to turn into the good witch because black people save black people. That's why I was like, she's gonna turn these kids back and then be shocked to find out that the little girl's a white girl. Like it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it, and when it didn't happen, I was sad. Partially because we don't know what happened to the other mice either.
Right.
Because in the other movie, the original movie, he turns back into a boy and he tells him, don't forget about the other boy to turn the other boy back. So did the other two mice die? Because she took all three mice with her.
Yeah.
So only the grandbaby survived? Like Chris Rock
longer, and yet I feel like it developed so much less in terms of character and relationships, and it just, I could only presume that it was because it was focused on floating in Hathaway in the air and exposing the fact that they only have this, which it didn't make sense. Why not just have it no fingers? Like it didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I honestly think, and this is just my opinion, what I think.
Mm-hmm.
In Britain, witches, ghosts, demons, goblins, whatever, are celebrating our real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think because the original was shot in England with an English director, and they take that is all that mystical living is part of their culture, which it is not part of the American culture at all.
Mhm.
So I think that was part of the misstep where and then we have two lead actresses that come from very different places. I think because I had a question I was going to ask everybody anyway. I felt Anne Hathaway was miscast. And if we had to have someone that was American to play the Supreme, who should it have been?
Mm.
Wow.
Well, first and foremost, because her hair is blonde, I didn't realize it was Anne Hathaway. I thought it was Nicole Kidman, but when I realized Nicole Kidman wasn't in it, I thought it was Michelle Pfeiffer, and I kind of think Michelle Pfeiffer probably should. She probably
Would've
would
been
be a
better.
good Angelica
Oh
Houston.
yeah.
Yeah, would have been better.
Yeah.
Both of them that
Would've
you
been
named
better.
would have been better, honestly. Yeah. You know, real talk.
I'm like, I'm always going to go for my girl Meryl.
Okay.
Meryl Streep. Yeah. Yeah.
And part of the reason I would have chosen Meryl is because one, I think we forget that Meryl Streep can glam up.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
Like I think that we really forget that she used to be a real, like, there were movies where she was the doll, she was the babe. Like, one of my favorite movies that she's done is oh my god, I just had it in my head.
Is it Death Becomes Her?
Death Becomes Her.
Yes.
She is beast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, it's like they're like she's literally had these roles, but I think given Anne Hathaway this stretch role, one, Anne Hathaway has always been the martyr. She's never the villain. Because that's not what she plays well.
Right.
And I think she's got typecast into it. I think this was probably her reach that she failed. But if there had to be even a brand new actress that I would have loved to see do this, I'm going to say Tika Sumpter.
From the Haves and Have-Nots? Is she in that one?
I would have enjoyed
yeah.
her as the High Priestess, only because, one, she comes from a theater background,
Oh.
and she's accustomed to playing the villain, and she's not afraid of getting ugly.
That's true.
Where I think Anne Hathaway is afraid of the ugliness. Because with all the technology we have, all she had was a split mouth and a toe. Angelica Houston was a full-on
Hag.
Hag, yes.
Hag.
Hag, yes.
And quite frankly, the Joker phase did not make sense
It didn't.
because it's like, well, people can see that you're a witch. Like they're not
Right.
going, why do you have big lines on your face? Like,
And because we're only supposed to be able to tell you're a witch by your eyes
right. Which it was not even a point that they discussed
in the new movie.
Well, I'm such an old school, diva type of dude. So give me like Helen Mirren or Glenn Close or
Yes.
Mhm.
or
No, Mary would have got that. Yes.
there's a few others that I could think of.
Patty LaPone.
Kate Blanchett, she could do it.
Oh yeah.
As you mentioned, Nicole Kidman. Let's see, and you said also Charlize Theron. She could have done it.
Well, she was the voice of Morticia in the Addams Family movie from last year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was a great movie. I mean, it was a cartoon, but it was a great movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching Witches of Eastwick the other day.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how freaking amazing Cher is as an actress, as a
Yeah.
character.
Mm.
Character,
Yeah.
true.
She in that movie, you forget her and Goldie Hawn, just the way they all committed. Not Goldie Hawn, Susan
Susan
Sarandon,
Sarandon.
how they
Susan
all
Sarandon,
committed to that role. I mean,
Yeah, even, I hate to say, I wouldn't have been mad at Susan Sarandon or Judith Light.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think something that is, if anything, the through line here is that it's not a role for someone in their 30s.
No.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Someone
Sigourney
seasoned.
Weaver. We could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just was not casted well, and I don't.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, to the point where no one loves Stanley Tucci, I think, as much as I do. I love him. Where I even felt like Stanley Tucci really should have been the dad and not the maitre d'.
Well, he also got a demotion because Rowan Atkinson was the owner of the hotel,
Right.
and
That part.
he was just like
Yes.
a manager. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It was disappointing. Like, I'm going
Very much so.
keeping the 1990 version forever, but it's a no for me on the 2020.
Yeah.
Like,
So
Yeah.
if you're watching this, don't download HBO Max just for this. Okay,
no,
stick to
Got
don't
it.
no.
do it.
Got it.
But I will say, download HBO Max for The Undoing.
Oh my God, so good.
Yeah.
Babe,
Oh,
it's giving me everything I need because I love me some Hugh Grant anyway, and
Yeah.
I feel Hugh Grant. I think people underestimate him because they just want him to always just be funny, but I think he is a amazing classical British actor, just in general. And Nicole Kidman brings it out in him. Like, she makes him work for it, and I am here for every episode. I'm so excited. The first episode was amazing.
yeah, it was really good. Another love. I love Nicole Kidman because she loves the dark stuff too.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been watching a lot of horror movies because it's October, but the others,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Never
Yeah.
seen.
oh my God, like
Classic.
stellar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Most
Oh my God, see it.
Okay.
Spoiler alert, they're all dead.
That part.
What?
Spoiler.
Why would you do that?
What?
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
Listen, you guys are a few years too late to like not have seen this movie, so I'm gonna spoil it for you. There you go. Now go see the whole thing.
Well, well,
Yeah.
one, probably I didn't see it because somebody probably was like, "Oh no, it's creepy." Because I had the hardest time getting through Lovecraft Country.
Jesus.
So,
Mm.
because it was way too gory for me for no reason at all. Like, I was like, and I still don't understand the Hellhound. I still don't understand the Hellhound. I still don't get it. I'm like, but
Well,
now I'm
spoiler,
in it.
It was
and
dead the whole time.
Right. So now I'm in it, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, come on, season 2. Like, so over it.
Well,
Have
just
mercy.
an aside to Lovecraft, there's actually an African American education organization that created a syllabus for each episode.
Okay.
Cool.
Wow.
And they talk about the historical context. So it's actually like almost cliff notes for each episode that you can look up. And it gives you references and other things that you could research if you want to go in deeper.
Well, I only loved one episode out of all the episodes. And that was when she learned she could name herself. It was the only episode that I enjoyed.
The
throughout
Hippolyte
the whole-
episode was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Hippolyte episode. Because
It was
she-
everything.
what I loved about it was, one, it was a reality for now, especially for women and for young girls, where it most of the time you have not achieved something because you haven't named yourself in it. You haven't given yourself that name that you've allowed other people to name you, and you haven't named you on
Right.
what it is, and you've allowed yourself to shrink. And I even love the ending where when she goes to her husband and he's dead and he asks, "Is this real?" And she's like, "I don't know." But she gets to have the conversation of, you allowed and helped me shrink myself.
Mm-hmm.
Where I came into this thinking you would technically set me free, but you couldn't even do that. where even in all of it, she still took responsibility for it for her. There wasn't the black man's fault. You had to do this or what, like all these things that we normally hear and we normally see. It was this responsibility of I'm not the woman I wanted to be because I decided not to be that woman. But it's not too late. I'm this woman.
Mm-hmm.
And in all, the last place when she had to name herself was mother. She went back to her child,
Mm-hmm.
which shows the connection of the parent and the child, that unbreakable bond factor of like that finishing of destiny thing for most women. It was brilliant. Like it was done. And
Yeah.
I mean, and she is amazing in general. If she doesn't get a Golden Globe, I mean, I'm still in chills from her playing Maddie Moss Clark. And then now you did this. I'm like, if they don't start giving her awards and better movies, she is the Alfred Wooder of our generation, where she's so overlooked.
She embodies it. She embodies the character.
I love her.
Yes.
And I've always loved her, but I was a fan and didn't know she had this. Like,
when
she
you can
has
make
been
the characters
developing.
sweet. Yeah, you're doing something.
Yeah, I was like, but where I am stuck is because of what I know is going to happen. Golden Globes next year is going to be between her and Simone. I think that's her name. She plays the schizophrenic woman in Ratchet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely, yeah.
Oh,
it
So I'm
is.
going to be torn
Yes.
on who
It
should
is.
get it, just
Spot on.
because they give master classes in acting, both of them on different levels.
Yeah.
But it's like, who do you choose? But it better be one of the two. Like,
Give it to them both.
it would be the first time they ever had a tie at the Golden Globes. I would say the first time ever. But like, I am going to say the sisters have brought it this year in 2020 when it's come to entertainment. Truly have brought it. The sisters have kept us calm and entertained and pensive and thinking ahead and moving forward. Truly. Like, if I'm going to say this, the blackest year we ever had.
Listen.
Since
true.
Martin Luther King. I'm just saying.
.com.
We have not had a year this black.
Yeah, that's her name, Sophie Okonedo. Yeah.
Sophie Okonedo. Yeah.
Mhm.
She's amazing. And I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen a bunch of stuff she's in.
Right.
but Nothing tops her at Ratchet. Like,
Yeah.
She
it's
brought
on
it.
a whole nother level.
Mhm.
The transitions of all the people.
Yeah.
She's like 8 different characters, and she transitions so effortlessly into each one without you. And it took me back to Nuts with Diana Ross,
Mm.
where people kind of slept on Diana Ross for being crazy like
Right.
that, because pretty women aren't crazy.
What are you
Like,
trying
you
to
know
say?
Well,
those
if
are,
you think
those
about
are the
it,
women you have to stay away from. the pretty ones.
anytime, no, but my thing is, what happens is when we look at overall media, the crazy woman is not the pretty woman.
Right.
She's normally not the pretty woman. Sally Fields was never what you say the pretty girl.
My
She was the girl we
girl.
always
Come on,
knew,
Miss Sally.
but no one will ever do Sybil like her. No
Boom.
one. Like, she deserves every accolade for that. But
She embodied it all.
also, she wasn't pretty. No different than when Charlize Theron decided she was she uglied herself up for Monster. I mean, for what? Not Monster. What was it? Monster.
Yeah.
it was Monster.
Yeah, Monster.
Yeah.
Monster,
Yeah.
right.
Right. It's because we
And then-
need like visual shorthand.
You know, and then Halle Berry going back to her
Right.
Cleveland ways to be the hood rat she knew to be in her heart in Monsters
Right.
Ball. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was about taking this very pretty girl and
Just
making
like
her
that.
for you to be all right with her being. Well, see, the problem with Baps is no matter what they did, you couldn't get past Halle Berry being pretty.
Ooh, yeah.
Like,
What's that movie
even
where
Orange with the gold tooth, you still couldn't get past her being beautiful. She was
Yeah, she
beautiful,
was.
ratcheted out. Monsters Ball, her personality and situation was so very ugly.
Mm.
that it didn't matter that she was this hot girl because all black girls look like that to most white people. And so she was just this hood rat girl from Cleveland throwing herself in the throes of a trashy white man. It was brilliant. The best acting we had ever seen of hers, ever. And I think the last time we saw good acting from her was Monsters Ball.
Excuse me.
Gotta like
We did
Catwoman.
not see John Wick.
Catwoman.
Gotta like
Hello.
Catwoman.
Horrible.
Oh my god.
It was great. I
It was
loved
horrible.
it. It was.
John Wick,
Agreed.
horrible.
Agreed.
Wait, even when she plays the new hero in the British thing about the undercover Bonds people, horrible. Like Halle Berry has gone back to just being pretty. Like she has not had a amazing, believable role since then. Because prior to there, like Losing Isaiah, she was really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
She
much
was
so.
really, really good.
And that was one of our first movies.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But then, you know, Boomerang. Okay. I mean,
Yeah. It was all right. I mean,
She
that was more
wasn't
comedy.
she was not believed when she said love should have brought your ass home. I didn't believe her.
She never
Like, I
had to
didn't-
say that before Eric Benet, though.
Well, right, but I didn't believe her. Like I didn't believe the slap. I didn't believe that. You know, I didn't even believe her when he was like, "Why are you being so cold? Hiding behind your work?" She was like, "I'm just taking care of my business." Girl, you're not. I'm not believing none of it. None of it. Not buying none of it.
Dre is
Like-
upset.
You know what I'm saying? It was like,
Right.
yeah.
Fully pissed off. I'm not.
He in his
I'm
feelings.
not.
I do not. Right.
I was upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
I would need her to represent Ohio way better. That's all I'm saying.
Boom.
She need to
That was how
represent
you really
Ohio way, way better. Way better.
Do better, baby. Do better.
Dude, better.
Or retire.
Do
One of the
better.
two. The only thing she has been consistent on is not being able to keep a man. That's the only thing.
Oh, is that a read?
Dre. Listen here. We didn't know we were getting darts from you this evening. Dear Lord. What we doing?
personal.
Seven.
Jesus.
How you doing?
How you doing? How you doing?
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm like, well.
No, not here for it. Not here for it all. And speaking of dark and moving it forward, so the Klobuchar Award this week goes to Kristen Weller
Yeah.
because she's earned it. She truly earned it because she brought it on this debate. She
Oh
was
my
not,
God, yeah.
She was not
Right.
here for the game.
The best moderator.
Literally.
They keep the best. Either of the town halls, any of the debates, the best.
The best.
I just
I
love
am
the
just-
fact. Go ahead.
No, I was just upset that they did not pan to her face when Trump said he was the least racist person in the room. I was just angry that
Right.
they did not pan to
Oh,
her.
yeah.
They purposely did that. They was like, no, we shouldn't pan over to her.
Yeah. Keep
Yeah.
camera
He was
4 right on
No,
him. Keep
But I
camera
needed
four.
it. Like I needed her. I needed that. I needed it because I needed them to understand that Kamala's faces are nothing compared to that moment.
Yeah.
Because she was probably like,
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
You really?
Yeah. And then he's like,
Yeah.
well, you know, I can't see who's in the room. It's very dark. It's
Yeah, I can't see. Where are you?
could
Oh,
be
there you go.
lighting. I can't tell how you look. The lighting is, you know.
Right. And I'm like, well, are you the least racist of your family? Because that was the side you was looking at.
Right.
least racist still is racist.
Right.
Right.
I didn't. I couldn't.
Got it.
Like, but she mastered it.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts, Tabitha?
I love the fact that she said multiple times, Mr. President, stop talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She
I
said
loved
what we've
it.
all been thinking for 4+ years.
Yes. Stop
She was
talking.
like, stop talking. And the
Talking.
first time she said it, it was
Please.
like somewhat polite. But by the time she said it the third or fourth time, she was like, stop talking.
Mhm.
She went straight into like,
That's it.
Well,
But you know-
what she said, what y'all not gonna do is set me up to get drugged on MSNBC tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not gonna do
Because
me like
Yes,
this.
no one has
Right.
come out unscathed
They
from
were like,
debates.
y'all not gonna do me like Chris Wallace. Nope.
Right.
she was a
Y'all
true
not doing that.
moderator, though. Like, she
Right.
finally was the first person to, whenever Trump would go off the deep end and 45 was going off on a tangent, she'd be like, but that's not what I asked you.
Mhm.
That's not what we're
Right.
talking about. She was the first person to do that. She's like, but I asked you about Black Lives Matter and racism. That's not what we're talking about right now.
Right.
And every single time, and you would see his face because he would just do this whole like, is this woman
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
questioning me? And you know, she was in there like,
Right. Yeah.
Totally unbothered. Totally
Here for all of
unbothered.
it. And
what I asked you was,
right.
you
and
know,
Fox
Right.
News, the president and Fox News both owe her an apology
yeah,
because they went on that campaign smear like she was all pro Biden, and she gave it to Joe too.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
She did,
she was
yeah,
an equal
yeah.
opportunist. She was like, "I got questions, Joe. Uncle Joe, I got
Mhm.
questions, and you're gonna answer them. You're not gonna skate around them. I'm gonna call you on it. I'm gonna give you your opportunity, but you're gonna answer." Like she was so deterred. Which I have said this for years. Black women should have been given these debates a long time ago.
yeah.
Do you know what I would have given for Maya Angelou to give a debate? Could you even imagine the shutdowns
Mhm.
that would happen
The
if Maya
shutdown and the
Angelou
read.
was giving the debate? Like, and I hate to say, the best Maya Angelou debate for me would have been with Bush and when Bush and Romney were trying to go at each other, would have been the best debate.
No, but I mean, I feel like she was very clear about what her intent was. She knew exactly what she wanted to accomplish as the moderator. She knew that this was the last debate and this was an opportunity for them. And there were specific things that each candidate was trying to put forth in their agenda when they were talking. But I love the fact that she stuck to some really hard questions. I mean, she threw it
Yes.
at them. And then when they started to deflect, she was like, but that's not what we're talking about. Let's bring it back to the issue. I mean, it was like, it was a masterclass in how to be a moderator
Mhm.
and
Right.
how to debate someone properly, because she wouldn't even, I think in the past debates, people were allowed to debate the moderator, which is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And she did not allow that to be the case for this one. She set the standard and she stuck to it. And when either candidate, you know, equal
Right.
opportunity, she's
Right.
like, but that's not what I asked you. So let's bring it
Mhm.
back to the topic of blah, blah, blah. Or we're still on the topic of. And that is so smart. And not just smart, but I think the people deserved a debate that wasn't just helter skelter. Like,
That-
I do have to say that I appreciate Quaalude Trump more than cocaine Trump in terms of the debate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That fits.
But I mean, everybody, even Fox News said he was a little dull.
Well,
Anything-
He
he had a choice but to be
sounded
dull.
rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But he had to be dull because his dull is what he thinks is presidential.
Right.
Like when you think about it, he's done this on the campaign thing. He was like, "Yeah, they don't want me to be this. They're be
I need to
pedestrian,"
drink
and
on
he,
that one.
you know,
Right.
like he becomes this dull, non-expressive person because he thinks that is
I'll
Really
put it
bad.
out there. I'll put it out there, y'all. I think that like we're seeing this massive turnout. I still think that there are a lot of people hoping that he will give them a reason
to change their vote.
not have to vote for Biden. So it's like,
not going to happen. But yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, he's chill today. He's chill. I guess he'll be chill for the next 4 years. Go.
Well, now McConnell put a nail in that coffin where he excused Senate
Till November
until after the
Right.
election. And so I'm going, it's like there's no stimulus, there's no nothing, there's no conversations, there's nothing that can happen. And I'm like, and I hate to say, this is where I've been saying this forever, and I was talking to Damien about this earlier, which I don't quite understand. I do not understand how Kentucky is behind McConnell after all they've seen, after all they know. Like I don't understand how it is, and I'm one of those people. Like, I'm with Joy Reid. I believe in retribution in the sense of don't get mad, get even, vote him out. But if he stays, I will be the first one doing infomercials about stay out of Kentucky. I'll be the first one. Like, I will do them for free. Like, travel anywhere but Kentucky. Don't go to nothing. Do not bring any money into their tourism. If you need to trade, don't. If you live in Cincinnati, go fly out of Dayton. Like, no reasons at all to cross that river. Never again. Because I don't get it.
Right.
I don't. I just
think of it. Think of it this way: the failing blue states want a big old bailout. Well, like, it should never be forgotten that like the red states are failing all the time. Kentucky lives off of New York's and California's taxes. They are like in the top 3 in terms of receiving federal welfare benefits. So the idea that he can be running it, saying what he says, but many people in the state would have their lives destroyed if he got his way. I mean, if that's able to happen, then all bets are off.
It's just the craziest. It's literally the craziest thing. And like, the thing is, which I did love about Joy Reid today, all the Republican senators that are up for re-election,
Right.
she has put all the faces up with their names in full retribution, saying, vote them out. Point blank, period. She's like, don't get mad, get even. Point them out. They don't care about you. They don't care about you at all. You're hungry. You don't even know if you got gas money to go to the polls. Like, she's broke it down so hard where I'm like, girl. Like you have to care more about us than your power because we're the one that gives you the power. It's why Lindsey Graham is going down. He is trying to hold on. And the only way he is going to actually make it literally will be the election will be rigged.
Right. Voter suppression will be the only way.
And that has been happening. It happened in South Carolina. It happened in North Carolina. It's happened in Las Vegas already. It's happened in California. It's happened in Chicago. It happened in 2 poll stations in Ohio where these Trump supporter people have showed up in militia form saying they were hired by the Trump administration. So it's this voter suppression thing there. It is happening.
It's real.
It really is happening.
Even the measures that the governor of Texas made about 1 polling station per county. You have some counties that have the equivalent of the state of Rhode Island within it, and they have 1 polling station. And then you have some places that are so rural, they have less than 400 people. So, obviously that's an attempt at voter suppression. Obviously that's an attempt. Gratefully, there are a number of different organizations that are taking measures to make sure that those people have the opportunity to vote. But, also part of me as a Black woman is like, I wish someone would try to get in my way at the polls.
Right.
That part.
That part.
Literally.
I would love, I I haven't fought anybody in a really long time.
Right.
So
I got
I'm
some
always
vodka for
game.
you, boo. I
I'm
got some
always ready to
vodka.
fight.
I'm always game.
I got a bottle of vodka with your name on it, boo. I got you. I got you.
I got that good old back.
I
I got that
don't
good
want to
old
be
back.
violent. I don't want
With
to
it.
be,
Yeah.
you know, confrontational. But I also feel like if presented with that kind of challenge, I would defend myself, and I
Well,
have
right.
in the past.
Rightfully so.
And there's so many other people that are equally as passionate, especially about the state of what's going on in our nation right now. They feel compelled to defend it. So I just hope the militias understand that they're not going to be met with passive people. They're going to be met with resistance.
Well, I think that,
Right.
but I believe that's the goal, that they want to meet the resistance, because the resistance means the police come, they have to break it up, and now people can't vote. Like they're like any disruption, which we've
Right.
learned in this whole 4 years, disruption and distraction are the keys
Yeah.
for to get a whole bunch of things. Because let's just think about it, like even with the whole, I was talking to a friend about like the whole Ruth Bader Ginsburg situation, and Ruth technically, like in hindsight, is like, well, why didn't she retire when Obama was in office, where she could have been replaced, and actually probably selected her own replacement in that manner, compared to now here you are trying to hold on to dear life to make it to the next presidency. You don't, and look where we are. And so it's kind of like how, but the Republicans had no, even like the sad part is, even with Amy Barrett being confirmed, the problem is there is no Democratic candidate. There was no Democratic option either. If the Democrats had to give a name, they had no name to give either. No one was prepared. Like there was no preparation for it at all. There was no one being groomed for it. And so bringing in Amy Barrett, that is not really qualified enough to sit for tenure
Honestly,
on the court.
Dre, that makes me nauseous to my stomach just to know that process has happened. Because just as we have all stated earlier in this hour, is that there are other things. This is connected to other plots and schemes of
Yes.
Trump's party. And it just wearies me, because what more can the American people take? Because we can take a lot, granted. We can take a licking and keep on taking. But I promise you, everybody has their breaking point. And it brings on a fear, because I mean, seeing the realistic thing, dynamics of it and what this can lead to as a same gender loving black man, as well as others, this will and can affect.
What
This
what
is
I
not
am
good
hoping
for us.
that happens is, with them doing this, that this is one thing I do love about Kamala Harris. If she does become vice president, it will be her mission to have Amy Barrett, Kavanaugh, and the other, I forget his name, impeached off.
Please and thank you.
It'll be her life's work. Like I can almost guarantee it, because what you don't do is piss her off, especially
Right.
when you are playing with not just the lives of people, but when you're playing with the law. She loves the law. Like she really truly does. Like she is a lover of the law, and it's something that we don't normally see in our politicians anymore, where they literally have this love for the law. Like, and they love the law even when the law isn't in their favor. It's like, it's something about the rules and the regulations and the ratification of it, because at the end of the day, it's not just me, it's about the bigger purpose. She's very that woman. And so I can't imagine her sitting quietly after this ruling. And definitely I can't see the American people being quietly when the Affordable Care Act is abolished.
Right. I was thinking about that, like that, one of the things that we haven't had to think about for the past like 6 years of massive demonstrations is whether or not you have health insurance, like whether or not something like that like turns violent, like the majority of people have health insurance. That's something that would be gone, and people who want to go demonstrate will then have to be asking themselves, well, if I get hurt, what will I?
What coverage will I have? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And right now,
Because mine will
most
be gone.
people, well, I
Right.
mean, well, at November, and so here's where the next problem comes. Most people are under the Affordable Care Act. There are over 15 million Americans utilize the Affordable Care Act with their insurances. Now, to the point where most people have been laid off from their jobs due to COVID. They're not eligible. That like after they do this, they're not going to be eligible for insurance. And come January, when you file for your income tax refund, not only are most people not going to get a refund back, but most people are going to be penalized because they don't have insurance coverage. People forget about that part. Like you wind up getting penalized a certain amount of money for not having health insurance. So
Right.
now I'm going to get penalized for not having the insurance that you took away.
Right.
Then on top of, I'm gonna have to pay back
And
tax.
pay it back. Right. And then I'm going to have back taxes as well as, or no income at all to suffice. And then what happens with the no income factor is you may not have to pay federal, but you definitely were going to have you're going to owe the state in state taxes. And so none of this is like smart or helping. And so I believe, especially if they vote against, Roe versus Wade, the American people will either push Senate to take away terms and like take the lifetime appointment away, or have her removed, to have them removed.
Yeah. Because
I don't care nobody say they moved this so quickly that I'm like, there is a scandal behind her name.
Mm-hmm.
My spirit says it got something to do with them adopted Black children. I'm gonna let that be. But I'm just saying. But we've never gone through a confirmation this quickly for any Supreme Court
at all. Never.
Like this was, and then for Mitch McConnell to actually even fix his mouth to say, "Oh, you win some, you lose some." Well, you can't win if the game is fixed, player. You fix the game.
For 6 years, because Trump likes to make a point about, I had all these vacancies. We only saw the one major like Merrick Garland vacancy.
Right.
But all of the lower court vacancies that were held, which McConnell appointed 200 judges,
and
all
not
of the openings that existed,
not one person of color.
Right. All of those, although existed, all the ones that were there under the Obama administration, they were blocking those too.
Yeah.
And he admitted it on Hannity.
Yes. Like it was determined, which is smart in the sense of what he was foreseeing was the Republican Party is going to lose its power.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can't control the Senate and we can't control Congress, what we can do is control the courts.
Right.
This is just a power play. That's really all it is, which is just going to force Biden and Harris going into office, really pushing through laws that it won't matter.
Right.
And packing the court.
And packing the court.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going to be the only way it happens. So my favorite segment that we have. I'm gonna do it a little different this week. So the Negro Please Award.
Chabu.
So I'm going to give you guys a nominee, and I want you guys to tell me who you think is going to win this week. Because I didn't do a poll because it was so much in the poll. Like it was so much to do.
Child.
And so I was like, let me see who I was like, this is who I believe would be the winner. And I kind of did like a small Gallup poll about who the winner could be to a degree. And so our first nominee is going to be Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg sent out a tweet this week to 50 Cent complaining about the gay scene in the new in the spinoff of Ghost 2 by saying, quote, first P-Valley, first Little Murder in P-Valley, now this. Thoughts?
Well, my thoughts I can't say on this show. But,
Same. I'm like,
Solid contender. I need to know what else he's up against.
Okay.
Um,
He is up against 50 Cent
ugh,
that now tried to walk back.
trying to get his black card back. Nope.
oh,
You're
No,
excluded. You're cut off. You
you
get
dip
no
into your
access.
streams
It's
there,
not.
50 Cent?
you're
Is your
done.
sketch show not doing well now?
And our third contender is Jussie Smollett trying to revive his career as the director in the
Girl,
first
alright.
full black gay
B-boy blues, right?
big picture movie. Yes.
um,
Those are the contenders.
and we just have to pick one, huh?
So I'm gonna let y'all all pick to see who got it right. So Tabitha, who's your choice?
I have to say, I'm really disappointed in Snoop.
Very
I'm
much so.
disappointed too.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Because there's been so much advancement in terms of the kinds of characters that we see and the depths of Black characters, particularly Black men and women on screen. So anytime you attack that without any kind of validity is just, I
Wow.
don't know, maybe it's personal for him.
Well,
I think it
I don't
is.
know.
I definitely
But-
think it is.
so
Yeah,
my
really
thing is
do,
this.
too.
I have
Yeah.
met him.
Mm.
He has called me nephew. Like, he is mad cool. I didn't get the whole showbiz Snoop. I got, high as hell Snoop. But
You got LBC
right,
Snoop. That's who you got.
but I didn't get. I never got anything what you say homophobic or felt uncomfortable, and I get that a lot. Like I get that whole trying to keep 5 feet away type thing, which is always funny for me because I'm like, you're really not. That's not how this works. You're not even my type. Like you'll say, like I mean,
Yeah.
it's like so. I never got that from him, so I was surprised by it. I was surprised with this because he's so. Like, him and Erica are super cool. Half of Erica's tribe is trisexual. So I was like, I didn't quite know where that came from. I thought it was weird.
But I
It was
also
disappointing.
think it's defeatist because it reminds me that in society people assume that there aren't any rappers out there who are gay.
Right.
It fosters the assumption that there are no people out in the world like that. Like we're making this up out of nowhere when they are extremely valid. I mean, I had this conversation the other day about professional athletes, and they're like, there are no gay football players. I was like,
So many. So many.
Child,
More
Right.
than you know.
So
Right.
more than And so I think it just fosters that whole like misogynistic black man thing that
Macho
we
crap.
have.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like we're too hard, or we're gonna pretend that's not the reality. But I've met little murders, you
Right.
know.
Me too.
Right.
You know,
I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary out for Snoop. Is it possible this was Snoop's way of being petty because 50 Cent, right after his denouncing black people, went after Young Buck again about the transgender? And so this was his petty way of saying, you're not, wait, your hands ain't that clean either. You in charge of the show and you promoting this. So where are you? Is it a petty way that maybe it failed? I'm just gonna say because Snoop does not have a history. Well, only reason Snoop has had no history of this. He has never gay bashed anybody before.
So what that means?
I'm just saying.
Right. It only takes one.
It only takes one. But what I'm saying is, it's a little odd that it's happened, and Snoop and Young Buck are cool like that. So I don't know. I'm just throwing a Hail Mary out.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it without saying anything derogatory. I'm gonna do my best. Y'all pray my strength, huh? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened was all these people. Yeah.
Keep it clean.
Oh, I'm doing my damnedest. But it's very disheartening, disappointing. Kind of to tag on to what Tabitha just stated, is that how far we've come. And just like Captain Orange Poop and the rest of his league want to shift us back to 1950s and 60s and before then.
Mm-hmm.
And the mere fact, see, this is why I always say you have to watch what you say. There's power, life, and death in your tongue. You can switch it just by your opinion because of your place on this earth.
True.
Your position that you hold. So I give nobody nothing because, first of all, none of us are stupid. We all have a mind and a brain.
True.
Hello. We know exactly what we're doing, whether it's scum of the earth or top-notch positive. We all know what we're doing. In other words, we're all held accountable. So I give Snoop and none of them anything. Because I'm like, okay, you say, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You said exactly how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Creflo Dollar half cousin, named 50 Cent, and
2 quarters.
Yeah, 2 quarters named. And 5 dimes named.
Not 5 dimes, Nim.
And the rest of them, and I won't even mention that other dude who I no longer associate with. It's like, bruh, this is not the time nor the place to say or do anything that's coming against African American people. Period. This is not the time. Period. I don't care which way you look at it, how your aspects of it, your perspective, all the things, all your high learning and thinking. Yeah, this is not the time. We're literally dying out here.
Mm-hmm.
We have been the bullet point. We have been the target since time began. This is not the time. So no.
Okay. So wait, so we got to go back. So Tabitha, who's your choice? Is it Snoop, 50 Cent, or Jussie Smollett?
I can't even justify considering 50 because I gave up on him a long time ago. I mean, I love me some Power, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that he was the driving force behind it. I think he wrote a check.
Sure.
So I'm gonna have to hold Snoop accountable because I feel like he can do better and he should have. Sure. And this is not the opportunity when you know you have a platform to say something like that. There are other things that you could have said that would have been far more productive, like
True.
get out and vote.
Facts.
That's all anybody should be saying right now. Until
Right.
Damien, who's your choice?
And you said I have to pick one.
You got to pick one. Snoop,
I'm gonna go with Snoop
or Jussie Smollett.
Well, who is Jussie Smollett again? Okay.
Right.
I'm throwing a fog. His name again?
It's just on Lovecraft.
Right.
Oh yeah. No. I feel like but I would say Snoop. Yeah.
Okay. Steven.
I think it's got to be Snoop. I think two people trying to save face compared to what Snoop has done, something that's like actively aggressive. It just kind of pales in comparison. I feel like the way in which we're saying please is different for Jussie Smollett and 50 Cent than it is with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
I gotta go Snoop.
And our resident diva, who's your pick?
D-Wayne.
Are you gonna part with the group? Are you gonna part?
It's gonna be Snoop. It's gonna definitely be Snoop for me. Like Tabitha, you said, you should be using your Twitter for something completely positive right now. There's nothing else right now you should be talking about this, that, and the third. Get out and vote. But it's so disheartening to know that that's how you feel about just like the LGBTQIA community. Really? Well, it just goes to show you that we're in everything. Whether it's your music producer, it could be your music producer, it could be your hair and makeup person, whoever. You just don't know this, Snoop, and it's just like it boggles my mind that we're still. Grow up. Just grow the hell up.
Please.
Cut it out. Stop thinking that everybody wants you or this, that, and the third. I don't know. It just pisses me off how people are still in the Stone Age. Like, knock it off. Grow some balls.
Real ones.
Real ones. Like, come on. But that's not what I feel right now.
So, my pick was 50 Cent. Because you don't get to dog your mama and then come back. That's just how I feel. Like, so I'm like, you don't get to
talking about that Trump don't win. Right. I'm coming back. No,
you don't get to trash the family and then come back and have exploited us in our stories and the whole nine for years. And I'm like, you don't get to come back, Negro, please. Like, it's like I was very that. But I am outvoted. The Negro Please Award this week goes to Uncle Snoop Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop, this is a warning. Do better. Evolve.
Please and thank you.
Welcome to the millennium.
So typical,
there have been gay drug dealers forever. Like, I'm just saying. Forever.
Yes,
forever
I know
in a
couple.
Day. Ever in a day. So, Snoop, I'm disappointed. I still love you. Do better. Just do better. I hope. My thing is, the good news
it's like
you only got one
going around.
Well, my thing is, the good news is, Snoop, you only got one. So, at least you don't do nothing else stupid, so that way you're not at least in the running for the Negro Please Award of the Year. Like, please. That's all I ask. Fingers crossed.
Still time to turn this car.
One that we know, because we don't know what he's talking about with his little buddies.
Well, true, but I'm just saying, like, I'm one of those people. Like, if you're gonna be misogynistic, keep it to yourself. Don't share it.
Right. Don't tell
I can have a good conversation with all of them because I'm like, sweetie, especially coming up. I was a young talking thing with all the amenities. Do you know how many Taekwonds, Raekwons, and them?
Come on, amenities!
Please, no.
Come on, amenities! Did you
just
say
amenities? To go with it. So it's like, no. Right.
Okay,
Look
that
like
is going to
all
be
this-
our third piece of merch that is coming to City Love Speaks. There will be a T-shirt that says amenities, which, like,
Oh,
I come with all amenities.
all.
That touched my soul right there.
Hey. I mean, real
Amenities.
talk. All the hood brothers, you'd be like, oh, on the low, what's up? How you doing? Oh, I'm good. What you want? Even though I know what they wanted. So it's just like, dude, for him to come out it's unrealistic. So I totally agree with Dwayne. Grow up, bruh.
Yeah.
Come to the real world. We're here awaiting your arrival. Come on.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
So, has everybody voted?
Yep.
Yeah.
I voted in.
So glad that, well, all of us voted. We want to make sure that all of you guys are voting. So make sure you go to vote.org if you don't know where your polling place is, to make sure that you are still registered, which you should know all this because you should have had a plan to vote already. But what I want to make sure that I share is that all of our new people that are voting and that are out voting, please make sure that in your states, it is illegal to post a ballot photo. So if you're going to take a selfie at the selfie stations. Most of the voting places have actual selfie stations for you to take your picture. Do not take pictures inside your little booth. Do not take pictures of your ballot. Don't take pictures with you in your ballot, especially if you're in states of Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Wisconsin. Do not take a picture. Please do not take a picture because your vote will be invalid, can be issued invalid. Take a picture of you with your I voted sticker. Like, you don't have to take a picture of you with your ballot at all, showing your sensitive information. None of that, because we want every single vote to count. So,
and don't be hype about it. Just vote. That's it. Just don't be, guess who I voted for? No, mama.
No.
Don't do
and
that.
here it is.
Right.
And don't just vote. Take
You're
3 of
hype.
your friends to vote with you.
There you go. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? My thing is, let's vote in large numbers. My thing is because your voice matters. Today, a friend of mine sent something that I reposted on our IG, so go check it out. It is probably one of my favorite stories that Oprah Winfrey ever gives. And she was asked the question of why does she vote? And she talks about the story of a man that walked 18 miles in one day and was not allowed to vote. He went to the poll he was supposed to, and they told him he had to go to another poll. So he had walked 8 miles one way, then he walked 7 miles the other way. Once he got there, they told him it was too late, he couldn't vote. And then he had to walk home. And he was never allowed to vote. And he was like, well, I'm sure I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna vote next time. And he died before he could vote again. And she was like, every time that she votes, she says his name. Like, she was like, this is the reason why I vote. She was like, somebody walked 17 miles to get the right that what I get to do.
That is crazy. Oh my
so I
God.
vote for him every time I vote. And so my thing is, and all of us have these amazing stories of people that we know, especially if you're a person of color, or a person of a different culture, where it was very, very hard for them to get the vote. The vote has transcended and grown in our country, and it's going to continue to transcend and continue to grow. I think it is just vitally important. This is the only way that your voice technically really can't be stifled. It's what you think. It's not about what I think. It's not about what any other commentators think on any other network, show, platform. It's really about what you think and what you think is going to be best for you in this country. And this is your opportunity to say it. So vote. That's all I can say. So any parting words? Next week, we're going into the election, and make sure you're tuning in to watch the election with us next week, because we're not just having an election, we're having a birthday party, and it's Tabitha's birthday. Cocktails to the havens, cocktails to the havens. I was like, so join us, make sure you're joining us next week. Then on Monday, get ready. Damian Michaels will be doing a brand new show on Instagram, on City Love Speaks Instagram. The
That's
RGB,
all of it,
Ratchet,
though.
Grateful, and Blessed,
Yes.
for our winter season on Instagram and only on Instagram and Facebook Live. So make sure you are tuned in at 8 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
I'm so
Get
excited.
your cocktail, because I'm just saying, oh, it's going to be a laugh. It's going to be fun. Like, it's as if you haven't seen the promo, it's a little ratchet because it's a little bit of ratchet in everybody. Even me.
And I got you. How you doing?
Just a
Just a
little
squirt.
bit.
Just a squirt.
Just
Just
a
a
little bit
squirt.
ratchet,
Mhm.
but it's more about being grateful and being blessed. I was like, at the end of the day. So make sure you're tuning in. Thank you guys for joining me every week. This has been amazing. Happy Halloween to everybody. Be safe. Make sure if you are out doing Halloween, that you what? Wear a mask.
Mask.
Mask it up.
And not like that, like Damien.
Like down here. Right here, down here. But a mask. Wear a mask. Make sure that you social distance. Make sure that you got hand sanitizer. Please give your children hand sanitizer.
Wash your damn hands.
Every house you go to. Like, like every house you go to, every door you go to, like give the babies the hand sanitizer. Let them wash their hands. Wash your hands. Like
All the way down to your elbow.
wash your hands. Wear your mask. Social distance. Be careful. Be safe. Make sure you watch your local news before you give your children their candy, because every single local news station in the United States always does a candy beware of certain candies not to give your children because they have been tampered with at some point or blah, 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 whatever. So make sure you are in tune before you give your kids the candy. Only wrap candies. Don't go to Miss Agatha's house and get the apple.
Don't do it.
Even though her caramel apples are the bomb.
How you doing?
Don't do it.
Not this year.
COVID is real. COVID is real. Don't do it.
Right. But if she's giving you money, then that's fine.
Well, I'm all for the money and the king size candy bars. Like,
Right. Here's 50 cents.
know where you go.
Oh,
So be careful. Have fun. If as an adult, Halloween, if you decide to go out, please social distance. Please wear a mask. The spread is ticking up, and Halloween it will probably be the highest rated of, because people are just determined to be out. I was like, so just follow the rules.
Hands down. Yeah.
And don't think about you. Think about the person next to you. Think about the people that care about you. And if you can't think about that, think about the people that are going to have to take care of you.
Hello.
Because as I say every week, if you don't love you, ain't nobody else going to love you. Go on ahead and catch COVID and find out. I'm just going to put that out there. Mask it or casket. Trick or treat. So, woo! Oh my God! Oh!
All right.
Trick or treat.
And we're, yes! Come on, Mask. Come on, Skeletor.
Man,
So happy Halloween, everybody.
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.